What up? What up, Cheds?
What's going on, man? It's great to see you again. How you been?
Good, good. How are you doing? How you doing on this Monday evening?
It's great. There's always action. For some people, equity markets close. If you're a crypto trader, there's always something going on. So stuff's good. I'm hanging out. How are you, man?
The best part of crypto, right? It never stops. If you're a trader, it never stops.
Yeah, some might say that's a double-edged sword. I don't know.
It's true. It's true. What I do know is that if you're watching this show right now and you don't hit the like button, you're a noob. You're a noob. We don't want you. Okay? Hit the like button. That's how you show us that you like Cheds. You want more of it. We measure. Believe it or not, we actually do track our likes. Okay? So smash that like button right now if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch or on Twitter, then go over to YouTube and hit the like button anyway, because that just shows us that you appreciate us and we appreciate you. Cheds, should we get going here?
Let's do it.
All right, producer, where are you? Producer, roll that intro.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for watching. I am Big Cheds. I'm probably best known on Twitter, where I do my work. I am a chart educator. I'm a trader. I'm a technical analyst. I do a lot of trading psychology, things like that, risk management. And this is an effort by Benzinga to get a little more crypto content. So this will be episode 5. I'm going to talk about the crypto market, hopefully teach you a couple tricks so you can feel more comfortable as you approach your trading craft. And then for about half the show, we're going to bring on a guest. So we've had some amazing guests so far. So I would encourage you to go back and watch those prior episodes. Today we have Panama TJ. He's just a great trader. I'm really interested to hear some of the things he's working on because they're different than what I do. I focus on price action. In my opinion, everything is baked into the chart. So when I look at the chart, that lets me know, hopefully, what the trend is, the direction of the trend, the strength of that trend. And while I'm trading it, I'm watching for signs of weakening. So if we could share my screen, we'll take us through a couple intro things. Of course, you can find me. I am on Twitter at Big Cheds. I am in just a couple days getting ready to publish my second book, Trading Wisdom, 50 Lessons Every Trader Should Know. We'll be talking about that. We have a lesson of the day later. So I'm really very proud, excited for that. You can find me on YouTube at Cheds Trading. If you're just getting started, check out chedstrading.blogspot.com. It's a free blog. I wrote it several years ago, but this information is still quite valid. And if you're interested in taking your technical analysis seriously, I'd recommend Bitcoin Live. I am a founding analyst. It is the best-in-class educational platform for crypto. Our guest is Panama TJ. You're going to find him on Twitter at Panama TJ. And once again, thank you to Benzinga. It's just an honor to be doing this program. We're having fun. Hit that like button. So, you want to get a sense of a chart. You want to step back in the time frame. And, here we have a weekly chart. We really have, for quite a while, really since that 10K break, we had really just an unabated or unchecked uptrend. And we see how the price found support here on this weekly chart at the 8-period exponential moving average, the green line. There's 2 types of main moving averages: a simple moving average, which probably most people use. In this case, the middle Bollinger, the brown line, is a 20-period simple moving average. That means every one of those 20 periods has the same value, the same weighting. With this green line, it's an exponential moving average. It just means it's a little more sensitive to price action. And in a lot of times, in these kind of initial accelerations, the price will kind of bounce up, break above the upper Bollinger, come back and kind of hit that EMA 8. And you get that really nice, just unabated, really strong uptrend. So you're looking for signs of weakening in this trend because you want to protect your profit. You want to see what's going on. You can use your indicators. I have an index indicator, the on balance volume. It's a tally of the buy and sell volume. Now, it's important to note that you're going to use these indicators to confirm your trading thesis or your trade idea. You don't want to use them to generate a trade idea. So Even if you have divergence, regular divergence with like a bounded oscillator like the RSI, or with an unbounded like the on-balance volume, you want to kind of let the candles and the price action, and in my opinion, more importantly, kind of the support and the resistance, kind of the key levels. I often say, listen to the price, let the price tell you. So, I'm pretty well known as a bull because I understand that there's a supply-demand imbalance. I think just today I saw an article about record outflows from the exchanges. So people are taking that Bitcoin out of circulating supply. So there's not enough Bitcoin. Like every day, there's more Bitcoin being taken out of circulating supply than is being mined, right? And I'm a technical analyst, so I don't really focus on the FA, the fundamental stuff, but I understand that. I understand supply and demand. So that's my bull bias. But I'm going to listen to the price. So we have to pay attention to the fact that we have our first close below the EMA 8 since the 10K area, since really back there. It's been quite a while, since about the 8-9K area. So that's a kind of something to pay attention to. We can't just ignore that. So you need to be more cautious based on that. But that's a pretty, we've already come down quite a bit before you get that signal. So you want to look at certain things. What were some of those signs of weakening, right? 27%. We've had similar corrections. I think we had, this is about an 18% move here. We had I think it was 18% and another 23, and then maybe even a 30. So we've had a kind of series of corrections, but this is the first time we've closed below that moving average. So you want to pay attention to that, but you've got some early signs. So what were the early signs? Let's go in a time frame, just a quick time check. Let's go in a time frame to the daily chart. So we're going to kind of take a look at the daily chart. Now, as always, you want to pay attention to the time frame. So as you're going in, it's not a strong signal. Daily is a pretty good time frame. So you get a pretty solid signal, right? It's not a 5-minute, 15-minute chart. We have the 50 period, the orange line in this case, moving average, kind of seeming to be really well-established support. And we're going to note, we're going to pay attention to the fact that has really held since that 10K area. So as the price had been accelerating and as the price had been performing this series of corrections, you can see the price from that upper Bollinger area coming back to that long-term moving average support. And you'll also get that lower Bollinger Band proximity. You had it here, and here. But this is a different case because you had on April 19th, you had our first close below the 50-period moving average. So, that's a pretty reasonable warning sign. So you say, okay, Cheds, at that point, we're already down. Okay, so what was that? 55.7 or whatever. So as you're closing, if you're going to be a disciplined trader, you could have had that. You had that plan where I'm not going to sell until we close below the 50 one time. Okay, if you want to be more conservative, maybe you save 2 candles. All right. By this third time, you got 3 candle closes below 53.8. Right. That would be a very conservative filter, waiting for 3 closes below that type of a medium-term moving average in that strength of an uptrend. But even if you went with that 53.8, now 46, so it saved you a bunch. But you had, maybe some earlier sign. Let's go to the 4-hour. And we've talked about this in the last show, I believe as well, 4-hour 200-period moving average. And now, though the price did not respect it to the penny or the dollar, you want to understand trend lines, support areas. It's not really about the exact price. It's about the zone. But you did have a little bit of a whipsaw here, but generally speaking, held this support, right? Held this support, and oops, okay. Breakthrough. Now you have what's the concept of a pullback or a bearish retest of a broken support level. Now at this point, now we're looking at, okay, 56.8. So if you're kind of looking at the 4-hour chart, which I think is a pretty reasonable time frame, a pretty reasonable time frame to trade, maybe swing, really not even just swing, scalp trading, short to medium term trading, you would have paid attention to the fact that you had a pretty sharp breakthrough. You broke through with force, you bounced, and you had that bearish retest. So you could have very easily initiated a short position right there. I think it would have been reasonable to do so given kind of the breakdown of the break of support and kind of the idea that you're now fading you're now going to fade the strength in what you believe to be a new downtrend. So you've kind of seen that play out a little bit. You could have tried that here as well, but you would have kept a stop loss in that general area as well, because your whole thesis would have failed because it would have gone up, right? And so any trade has kind of a thesis or that you should respect. So say your idea was it's going to fade here. If it doesn't, if you broke back up, especially below this low, maybe above 58.4, you would have had to have exited that trade, but you didn't have to in any case. I think this is a good opportunity to roll into the lesson of the day if we have that available. Lesson of the day. So I kind of, I walked us right in there. I walked us right up to the door. Time frames are really tricky because, I often hear, what time frame should I use? The greater the time frame, the stronger the signal, right? That's just a very important rule. Think about that. So it's very easy to get hung up on like a 1 hour reversal. Like in every kind of sharp move in Bitcoin, you have these consolidative patterns, and oftentimes it's like a bearish continuation, but people will go down to a 15 or 30 minute and they'll kind of see a head and shoulders pattern, or they'll see whatever pattern they want to fit their bias. You have to be really careful about making decisions based on short time frame trading, right? If you do it right, if you're excellent, if you have a stop loss you respect, that's fine. Most people aren't that disciplined. A lot of people just get stubborn. You get in and the trade fails and you're like, I'll just hold on to it. I don't want to sell. And then now you're married to it, right? Don't do that. So avoid that by focusing on a larger time frame. And anytime you're not sure, first of all, don't enter a trade if you're not sure. But secondly, like back out. Always back out to a time frame. Go to a larger time frame to get a little bit more perspective. So larger the time frame, the stronger the signal. I also would say to avoid moving around time frames to justify your bias. Like if you really want to be a bull, don't keep moving around until you get that 15-minute over. I know a lot of people use like stochastics, RSI. Don't keep going until you get like an oversold stochastics. Eventually you'll be looking at a 5-minute oversold RSI. I mean, that's not the reason to start a trade. So be careful with time frames, and we'll kind of leave it at that. Let's discuss a little bit more of the crypto market, and we'll roll into our guest, Panama Crypto. Just a great guy. He had me on his podcast a while back, and so I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what his thoughts are. So those were some key time frames I talked about on Bitcoin. And what are we doing now? Well, I mean, is the bottom in? Maybe. I think I'm still keeping an eye on a very important level, in my opinion, that 42K area. Why that's important is you have a well-established resistance area that is once broken. You got that bullish retest, which is called a throwback. So you look at that, what is the Feb 28 day, and you're really close to it, 43. You didn't quite get there, but really this is a zone, right? Think about a horizontal zone. This is the most important support in my opinion. What I would love to see happen, if we don't just go to 100K here, but I think we're probably going to put in some type of a lower high at some point. I feel like this needs to consolidate in some type of an equilibrium with the high, the lower high, the low, the higher low type of situation. And given we had a really long time above the MA50, I have to respect. We broke the MA50. We broke the EMA8 on the weekly. It's probably a mean reversion bounce, where it's kind of just an oversold bounce. If we close back up above the MA50, that would get me really excited. And this would be really my ideal entry, the MA200 confluence with that horizontal level. But what's kind of interesting is how this little bottom played out. You can see, and we'll go into a lower time frame, which I don't often do. You can kind of see these two lows here, right? So there's a concept you want to think about. The best entries, or some of the best entries, come from the retest of candle support, and that's in Japanese candlestick theory. This hammer candle, or pretty much a hammer, even though it's not a shaven top, the retest of this range should provide a good entry. So you get a lot of those retests. In this case, we had a stop loss sweep where we broke below that low. So you kind of saw that happening. I tweeted a little bit when it was going down. It was just at the weekly candle close. So you can see kind of in this lower time frame, you have that initial low here, and some traders got in here and then maybe even some jumped in on the break of that lower high. Maybe some jumped in here, right, on this candle, respecting that low. Okay. And they're thinking, oh, we're in, this is this is the bottom, all that good stuff. And they get a little bit of that rejection. You come back. Now you have a higher low. Okay. But really, we're just doing bearish. At this point, it's really just bearish continuation. It should be, because you do it when you're doing that kind of triangle, any kind of a triangle, most of the time it's continuation. And most of the time, these trends will continue. So you're kind of assuming it's going to go down and break down at some point. And it did. It kind of channeled for a little bit sideways, got that really tighter range. Look how tight that was, right? Lower high, lower high, lower high, higher low, right? Look at that really tight range. And then the breakdown. But look at the breakdown. So remember, I talked about people who were in here. They set their stop loss right at that level, like 47.5. So you go ahead and you break here, and you kind of break below that level, and you trigger a lot of those stop losses. So a lot of times you see these double bottom types. Let me do it better than that. Let's do it this way. You see these kind of like double bottom types where the second low, right, slightly lower. We had that sweep. At that point, you're trying to figure out, what do I do? What do I do? I recommend kind of a two-level confirmation. So you kind of identify your lower high structure, your descending hypotenuse, or really just a descending trend line. And then from there, you want to really look at kind of your key lower high to initiate a trade on, maybe here at this level. If you're really conservative, right up here, really over that high. So really, you would initiate a long, maybe 52K. And it's kind of done reasonably well for you based on that. But like I said, we're looking at larger time frames. You have to respect those breakdowns. That definitely makes me a little bit more cautious for now. So I think we need to close back up above MA50 for me to have a little more confidence. Ethereum is beautiful. We've talked about it. And Ethereum doesn't, some people, ETH BTC chart. What does that mean? That means Ethereum, if people are long that, they think Ethereum's going to outperform Bitcoin. And we're, on this chart, I don't see I don't have any clue that the rest of the market is in quote unquote turmoil, right? I just see a beautiful uptrend. Everything is nice and orderly, the consolidation and the RSI, nothing really jumping around. It's just a nice clean uptrend that has established this resistance level, right? We established it middle end February. We reaffirmed it middle of March. And then broke through, right? April 1st, you broke through. What did we get? We got the concept of a throwback. I love to trade a throwback, and I do a lot of options trading on equities. And I just look for throwbacks, and listen to the price, right? And the price established that resistance. And then the price broke through. And you could have thought, I missed it, right? Now we're at 2140, and you missed it. Okay, did you miss it? Boom, right back to that level. So you be a patient buyer, and you wait for that throwback. If it doesn't come, you can go play something else that has a throwback. That's the way I see things. There's no reason to kind of stick with it just because that play. You just don't chase anything that is just running. Wait for a good entry. And I think that's the kind of an important way to frame it. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we have our guest, Panama Crypto. I'm really excited to hear what he has to say about some of the projects he's working on. I follow a lot of different people just to see what they're doing. And sometimes there's overlaps and sometimes there's not. And I think there's a lot of value in collaborating and hearing what people say. So, on that note, I think it's time for some trader talk. What's going on, Trader Talk? Do we have my man?
We actually don't have him yet. Working on getting him.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Ready now. I'm telling him. Show live now. Click the link. He'll be on in just a minute. He's got a different time zone. And he'll be on in just a minute. So I do apologize for that, folks. You can blame me, folks. You can definitely string me out to dry. We'll keep talking until my man shows up. So Ethereum, we talked about that strength. Take a look at Litecoin as well. It's a very common trading pair for a lot of people. It looks like I had a lot of fun in this chart. There's a lot of arrows. So I'll come back. We're going to clean it up. And we see in this chart still a nice clean uptrending chart. We see that moving average, the 200 period moving average rising. generally speaking, the definition of an uptrend in many ways is that 200 period moving average rising and the price trading above that moving average. And you want to look at the shorter term moving averages as well. Why I mentioned that is on this chart, we have the MA50, right? So what you want to try to do on any chart, like I said, is listen to the price. Right here, we kind of lost it. So you almost had kind of a little bit of a false, a little bit of a bear break. But the price rallied with that lower Bollinger proximity as well. The price rallied, we kind of regained that moving average. And what's interesting here, we talked about that 8 EMA earlier, the green line. If you noticed in a lot of these charts where you kind of get that initial break, a lot of people jump in the diagonal break. I like to wait for like a lower high, a horizontal confirmation. But you can see right there, look how well the price respected that green line on the way up. So if you're in that, it doesn't last for long. It's hard to really trade in this range, like in this for a long time. In this case, we did it just for whatever, like not even a couple weeks, 11, 12 days. So when the price is in that mode, you want to respect it. Let's just kind of scroll around and see if any of the other alts are super hot. We got BCH trying to bounce. It's, similar mean reversion. You'd have to think, similar mean reversion, really just the oversold bounce thus far until proven otherwise. You definitely would want to highlight, key level. You see the price rejected in that 19 to 20, February 19th, rather, in that range right around 734. And then you see after a while, price rallied and then accelerated through. And in the meantime, it's respecting that in that short term, right around that 720 range. See if he's there. So let's check that. Bitcoin Cash, Uni. So this is one of the stronger alts. Just beautiful. And if you notice, if you want to look for a key level, so you can see here that orange line, right? MA50. If you go back, even had the price right there. We're around $3.80, $4, initially finding support there and bouncing. And it took a while, but it held and bounced again. Now, we initially got faked out because, so let's think about timing, right? At this point, you're bouncing off the MA50. And at that moment, you've got a pretty well-established resistance area here. So you're trying to look for clues. You want to buy the breakout. Maybe you're looking for continuation. And what we had here was essentially a fake out, right? Where you broke over that resistance and came back down. At that moment, you got heavy pressure on the bulls right back to MA50. And amidst or in the middle of all this market volatility, the price is just held in there. We're kind of looking at the texture of the volume. We're kind of observing the red volume versus the green volume on the candles. And you want to note, like here, we're really seeing generally more volume in the green than the red, right? That's a sign of accumulation. That's what you want to see, definitely as a bull, a sign of accumulation. And right back again at the top of the channel. So we're right back again, testing the top of the channel. You think about this as a buy the dip one. I wouldn't jump in here. You'd want to buy in that moving average support. And that would be your thesis. That would be your trading plan. You can kind of, this is a good one to talk about the concept of hidden bullish divergence, where it's starting to resolve, where you have lower lows in the RSI, and you get the higher lows in the price. Now, really, it's like I said, it's starting to resolve because using the candle body close, right? So now really starting to resolve. The RSI is coming back up, but for quite a while now you had. And why does this work? While the RSI is cooling off and putting in those lower lows, the price is holding on to that and regaining and keeping all their gains. So that's why that hidden bullish divergence works. What do we have next? DOT. So DOT had also been super strong, really for the longest time, and but we could see the breakdown, right? You can see so there's been a little bit of chop here, really since March, but you can see a rather well-defined bullish pennant. where you have the advance, and then you started to, you form that tightening range and certainly see the rising demand. And then we had the breakdown, but you really had the price rally. You get that inside bar on the 25th. You form the morning star, right, the next day, and you continue on. You actually regain that prior descending resistance line. So that's pretty impressive. And then you get the bullish retest, you get the throwback on that, and you kind of chop around for a while again, and then another breakdown. So this is what kind of would concern me as a bull. At this point, you kind of marked out some resistance. You've marked out some resistance at this point, right around that $40 level. Let's see, where's my man at Panama? Just send another quick message, folks. Thank you for bearing.
I also just shot him a DM. We'll see if he.
Yeah. Oh, you guys are tight, so he'll respond, right?
We'll see.
Right, brother. So folks, once again, thank you for watching so far. It's a nice time to reset. This is Making Bread with Cheds. This is a new program by Benzinga. New concept. We are in episode 5. I've had some amazing guests so far. Scott Melker. I've had Chartman, Dan. I've had my main Crypto Burb, who's just like unbelievable, and of course Big Chonas, who is one of my best friends. And some of you who've known me for a while, on my channel, on my YouTube channel, we did a lot of videos back in the day. We have not done them really since I started with Bitcoin Live, but he's around, so that was a great episode. And next week we have Alex Macro on Twitter, and he's really interested to hear what he has to say, kind of on the fundamental side. I follow his feed, because it supplements kind of my weak points. It's important to know kind of what you're good at and what you're not good at. So, and it's okay not to be good at certain things, right? Everyone has a blind spot. So, try to focus on what you're good at and try to improve at what you're not. Back to the action. And again, we'll have our guest, Panama Crypto, here soon. Really great trader. I'm looking forward to kind of hearing what he has to say about NFTs. And he says he's involved in a bunch of projects. So I'm really, that'll be a lot of fun to kind of hear what he has to say. Back to the price action.
Can I make a request?
Yeah.
Can we look at Doge?
Oh man, do I have it on here already? I love Doge / US dollar. Okay, let's take a look at it. Let's see where we're at. 27 cents. So, I mean, you gotta say that it still has held on to most of its gains, and you see that reflected in that on-balance volume, that strength. The RSI is chilled out. We're at like 60, and what you're noting, what you're paying attention to, are the volume and kind of what corresponds with the candles. So really, all this is light volume consolidation. And if you look at these 3 big red candles, or really just the 3, 4 in this series, there's not a lot of volume behind it. So there's still people are holding on to it. There's a whole segment of people that aren't going to sell until Elon, says to sell. But I understand again, I'm not an FA person, but I understand there's a lot of new coins minted all the time, yada, yada, yada. But it's the chart. Everything's baked in the chart. So all that, still that you have to consider this an uptrend and be really MA20, looking at that rising support and look to buy there. You had this low violated, and you could see the price pretty well marking out that like 22, 23 level. So, it could channel sideways for a while, and you might see people just playing that channel, like 22 to like 28 or whatever. I mean, this could go sideways for like a week, 2 weeks. I mean, it did it here after that monster move. We had just, quite a while that it consolidated. Look at that, 2 months. So sometimes it's hurry up and wait, and sometimes it's explosive. I think it looks pretty good for Dogecoin. Any other requests? Should I switch back? You got any other for me, brother, or no?
I just want to hear what you got to say about Doge.
Yeah, totally. So let's see where we're at here. Let's kind of jump back. Let's talk about Sol. This one's been super hot. Seen it on Twitter. I haven't played it or anything because I only play the stuff that doesn't go up. But no, I'm just kidding. It's been very popular, and This one has just been strong, and it's another one where, when you think about the concept of relative strength, and this one has just had relative strength. Well, Bitcoin's been strong, it's been going up, and Bitcoin's been, weak and consolidating. This one's just still going. This thing's just kind of still cranking. So, you want to look at a level. What do you do in this kind of a situation? You want to kind of identify a level that you can form a trading plan, a trading thesis. And really that would be, like that. Okay, you take those initial lows. You just have 2 contact points, so it's not great, but you take that high of the 24th, low of the 26th. Okay, you'd be a little more conservative, maybe slide that down there. That would be a little bit more reasonable, still aggressive, but you'd be lining up with the 8 EMA. So you get kind of a confluence, which means a combining of multiple factors. You get the highs of these candles, and you get that rising moving average support. So that would be a way you could form that. But really, I'd want to see this flush. I like a deep flush. And one thing I pay attention to is the volume. And you often see the most volume near the top and the bottom of a chart. So it's a lot of volume, but it's the beginning sign, it's the beginning formula of some type of a local top is a lot of volume. It's ironic, oftentimes a lot of people are asking for volume, but that's how you start to form a top. I'm not saying that necessarily, is what we have going on here. I'm going to quick tweet. Can someone to check his DM? Sorry, folks. So yeah, I appreciate everyone kind of, this in the professional business. This is what they call a hiccup. But in any case, so let's move on to the next one. So ADA's been really strong. It's a very popular one. But we have a situation where it's breaking down from that moving average support, that 50-period moving average support. And with today's candle, with that mean reversion bounce, we seem to be back up above it. The problem with this type of situation, and this allows me to talk about the idea of picking the timing your entry in the channel, right? You don't want to buy in the middle of a channel. I like to buy either like at the bottom of a channel, somewhere where that's kind of a pretty reasonably well established support resistance flip level, right? The resistance, support, and we see it here. So I wouldn't mind buying here, because I can give myself a pretty close stop loss, 95, whatever. If I'm around here, I mean, what am I doing? I think you're already kind of taken back like 50% of the move. So you have a 38% drop, and look at that, 50%. You've already kind of bounced through 50% of that move. So you can't, I don't know what you could do here. Either play in a breakout, perhaps you would establish like that level. So if you break up above that 130, use that as your entry and your stop loss. But I like clarity. I like to buy uptrends at long-term moving average support, 50 period, 200 period moving average, stuff like that. And let's continue on. All right, so we talked about Dogecoin. Sol has been super hot as well. BNB has been really hot as well. That's impressive. And I just remember this thing was like $20, just hanging around. It's one of those that they was just there forever, and you knew, you're like, I could have had as much as I wanted, and it just runs. And this gives us an opportunity to talk about the concept of the length of time in consolidation. So pretty strong advance here. And then we get this pretty long period of sideways. So that's a couple weeks, 3, 4, you're talking, that's a full month. So a general rule is that the longer longer that the price spends consolidating in an area, the more significant the break of that area will be. And we've kind of seen that play out. We really, really have seen that play out because we were here in that 300 level. And just even if you waited, I talked about bottom of the channel. The opposite of that would be the top of the channel, the breakout. And even if you'd played that, which was pretty reasonable here, where you broke out and then you actually got that throwback. And a lot of times you see that throwback before you continue on. So you got their second chance entry, right? You've seen a pattern here, folks, right? The resistance when broken through, you get that retest and then the go. So we had that happen, and he had a really nice break from that level 330 all the way up to 640, and we see a tightening range. For bulls, I still not, still volume looks okay. It's just it looks like it probably just, if I looked at nothing else, looks like it's probably going to continue. I like the RSI; it's cooled off a bit. OBV is still strong, kind of confirming that uptrend. And you have the tightening range. So if you want to decide how to play it, you can look at the high, and I have a lower high. You have your low and your higher low. So you can kind of maybe look for a break of one of those to initiate an entry. Just one possible way to do it. But if you were to do that, you would want to respect that same level as your stop loss. So what I mean by that is, say you were to initiate a short, which you probably shouldn't be doing, because you don't want to be going against the trend. You want to be playing with the trend. So you really should be buying the bottom of this channel. But let's say you, so let's think about it that way. I don't want to teach you the wrong thing. Say you were to initiate a long here, EMA 34, right around these lows, 450. You'd still want to use that level as your stop loss. So what I mean by that is, if you did enter like right around here, you should respect maybe a loss of that low as your stop loss. You get in around 450, and then you start to go down here, 440, maybe 430. That's your stop loss. You don't want to just enter, and it doesn't work out, and then you're just like, gee, I wish I had done something differently. Do something different. Respect your stop loss, and kind of move on to the next one. So as this looks, it looks like it's going to continue most likely, given the way it seems to be consolidating. And let's see. Let's talk about XRP. That's a pretty popular one. So XRP, I just, for those who know me, know I was completely wrong on the idea that it would never break $1 again. This is the daily chart. I think it went almost, I don't know if it hit 2, but it almost hit $2. So congratulations for those who are in it or whatnot. Right now, it's still reasonably bullish. And the only thing that really concerns me is the on-balance volume, kind of the dip in the on-balance volume, reasonable amount of sell volume on these candles. That being said, we have a level we can watch that will really say, that will really kind of confirm things, in my opinion. So you take that recent low, and that recent low corresponds, with this high and these lows. So you have a kind of, a pretty solid claim that this is a level of importance. So we see that right at 91 cents. So XRP, get below 91 cents. I think you're looking for a much deeper pull at that point, a much deeper pullback. So if you did break that 90-cent range, I think we'd head back, 45, 50 cents, certainly MA 200. So I would say keep an eye for that. So you don't want to see that. You definitely don't want to see that low, the loss of that low if you are a bull. Do we have any chat room requests? While we're waiting for a guest. If not, we're going to bring it back the next time.
We do have some chat room requests.
Cool. Yeah. What do we got, brother?
Let's go in chronological order. Let's go. Any thoughts on HIVE coin from D Factor 98?
Okay, let's check it out. So it's great. I don't know any of these projects. When people ask me about them, I can just tell you what I think based on the price action. I'm not giving you what I think about the dev team or any of that. HIVE. So, I mean, it's correcting here, and you've given up a lot more gains than you would have wanted to as a bull. Bears have control right now, even though it's pretty light volume, pretty orderly sell-off. So in this situation, I'd probably be looking to target around the MA 200. And, I would kind of base a trade based on that. We also have this reasonably well-defined descending trend line resistance. I would probably pick this high and this high. And my idea would be that this is the supply or the resistance level, 68. And I would kind of go ahead and do this, just so I know that if we are able to break up above that level, then the price, likely is going to continue and test those higher levels, kind of 88 and beyond. What do we have next, sir?
Are you able to cover? I don't know if this is one or two. KSM or TIA.
Okay, I know that one. KSM, heard of that one. TIA, I've never heard of that one. That's not working. I'll probably thank you in advance. TIA.
Oh my God, and Anthony,
Isn't that awesome?
you are good.
Yeah, right. So KSM, I mean, it's similar in the sense that you have kind of that violated uptrend, and you're going to see this across the market. That's why I mentioned Sol earlier, kind of the relative strength. I mean, this is not all that dissimilar with Bitcoin. You have a different high structure because you have the higher high in Bitcoin, but you have the MA50, the similar play with the MA50 where you have the uptrend, you have the MA50 violation. You kind of look back and you have the same kind of situation where you hadn't really, $58 last time you tested it. You kind of sliced right through it. And now you have a bounce up to the MA50. You definitely want to look at these lows around 412. You have to get back up above the MA50. I'd want to see this above that low from that day. What is that? The 408 or something like that for the April 12th. I'd want to see that from a momentum standpoint. OBV is kind of confirming the consolidation. It's not necessarily a bearish chart, but it's in the middle. It's consolidating. And if you're looking for a value entry, I would be looking right here. And the price, again, listen to the price. We see the high, we see the low. I look for well-defined signals as a trader, and that kind of allows me to filter out the noise and ideally higher probability type of scenarios. I'm realizing I gave my man probably he's here. Let's go. Trader talk.
I don't see him here.
Oh, okay. Click. You sure? Well, I mean, obviously you're sure. I'm gonna give him DM him the thing. Copy link address. Try that. Click here, please. And he'll probably be here momentarily. I'm gonna introduce him as well. Again, our man Panama TJ. He's a great guy. He's really fun. He's a great trader. He's in a lot of different markets, which I think is exciting. So I'm kind of looking forward to hearing what he has about the market. What do we say? Are we seeing anything or neg?
No, you sent him this.
Here, you just said I'm here, 741. So
all right.
Appreciate for the patience, folks. This is up. He says he's connecting. Excellent. We'll see him in just a minute.
Okay.
So,
well, then let's give him 10 seconds, and then if not, we will move on without him.
No, we're not. We're not going anywhere. He's coming in. He's coming in 100%. I can feel it. Can feel it.
If I had my Jeopardy soundboard, I would actually no, because then I get copyrighted, and then that'd be bad.
Yep, that'd be bad. That'd be no good.
So, all right. Let's we'll go one more from the chat, and then if he comes in, he comes in, and we'll stop.
What do you got for me, bro?
Let's thoughts on this is from Brian Blockchain. Thoughts on Thorchain.
Thor, okay. Thorchain Rune. Wonder why they do that sometimes when the name matches, sometimes doesn't. It's similar, but this is stronger than the last chart we looked at because we're still at to talk about 8 EMA as a primary uptrend support. I often talk about the yellow line, the EMA 34 as a secondary uptrend support, and we're above the MA 50. So we can observe that though kind of this aggressively drawn diagonal has been broken, we're still trading above our moving average support. And, we were, for the most part, except the H starting to cross over, hasn't done it yet. So we're potentially in the early stages, but I think this generally still looks pretty strong. We really just have the price pulling back from the upper Bollinger and retesting prior established levels. You could draw it that way very reasonably, and you still have quite a clean chart. Right at that 1060, 1070 level. So I think that's definitely going to be the buy the dip, buy the dip area on this chart. So I like this one. This is a nice looking chart. Whoever's in this one, so well done there.
Hi, sir. Any thoughts on Blink?
Blink is I assume that's what the big board one. I don't think that's the crypto.
That's a stock. So you know what? Let's get that off the off there. That's a stock. Litecoin myth. We did that. Rewind like a half hour. We talked about Litecoin. We didn't do Polygon, right?
Poly is this POLY? Okay. Polymath. Poly. Okay. Hopefully this is it. Poly. All right. So what is Poly up to? Poly BTC. Let's go for the USD pair so we can have a 1-to-1 from what we've been looking at thus far. All right.
Forget that because our guest is here.
Yeah.
All right. Let's
trader talk.
do some trader talk right now.
My man. Oh man, I love you, brother. How you doing? Panama, you hear me, brother? I can see you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. How's it going?
Just got back from walking the dog.
Yep. You walking the cat too? I see the cat just hanging out.
And in the meantime, I was like, wait, it's like 7. I should head back. Might have different time zone as my friend Cheds. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely my fault. We're going to have to bring you back for a longer experience, but I'd like you to just introduce yourself. We've been going over the crypto action. Tell us how you're doing and what's on the top of your mind, like what you're trading, what's going on, that kind of stuff.
Well, in Panama crypto, been in the space for 4 years now. Big fan of shitcoins and Bitcoin and everything in between.
There you go. There's a lot in between. You mentioned some. We were DMing briefly. You talked about some projects you're in. You're in a lot of projects. Like how early do you get in? To these projects. Like how early is a stage for you, and how do you approach that?
Well, fortunately for me, being early in crypto 4 years ago grants you the early access to projects that are launching. Specifically pre-sales or private sales, so you get a better price than usual. So, for example, I got heavy on pre-sales back in November, October. So, yeah, it's been doing pretty well.
How do you do that? Like an average person, how do you use, is it just you find the Twitter account? Would they advertise it? Do you have to know someone? How does that work?
Well, for the regular Joes, I advise them to do a lot of research because in the sea of shitcoins that are out there, like, I don't know what, 60% are scams, rug pulls. So you have to keep an eye on that. But basically, the work gets cut out for me because I have friends that are influencers that are contracted to get in the pre-sales. So for me, it's like a cutout in advance fundamental analysis, because once I look at the projects, I pretty much know that they're gonna be a home run.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to play this market, and some people can, based on the team and what they think the company is going to do or the project's going to do. Other people, are traders and all, just based on the TA and all that. So I think it's cool that there's stuff that I know nothing about, like NFTs, for example. Did you jump into that NFT thing? Is that something you're doing? Can you hear me, brother? Nope. All right. So, Panama, can you hear me, man? I was just wondering about NFTs.
Probably touched something I shouldn't have.
Oh, that's cool. So that's all right. So we have our friend Panama Crypto. He's on Twitter at Panama Crypto. in
I
just
hear
a
you
minute.
back. Sorry
Yeah,
about
so
that.
tell me about. I was asking you about. It's great. There's different things in the space. Have you done NFTs? Like, what's your thoughts on that? Have you messed with any of that stuff?
Well, the only NFTs I've done has been the Polka Pets through Bonley, but I pretty much am not completely sold out on the NFTs because I think they're overly hyped at the moment. I do believe NFTs are valuable for in-games collectibles. For example, stuff like Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, sort of that weapons and masks or anything in between that you could use to improve your game experience could be valuable. But at this moment, like for example, you see this crypto kitties, the other ones that are very hyped, the punked faces, like pixelated 8-bit avatars.
Weird, right?
That shit is overhyped.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you want to sell those, you won't find liquidity to dump those once you buy them. And if you buy them at a premium, you obviously gonna, if you want to sell them like 2 weeks after, you obviously gonna lose at least a shit ton of money on those.
Yeah.
But
Interesting. Yeah.
for me, I'm more of a fan of DeFi and farming than NFTs itself. To be
That's what I
honest.
wanted to ask you about, actually. And thanks, I'm glad you mentioned that. So, like, DeFi, yield farming. I know nothing about it. So love to hear your thoughts on that stuff.
Well, I compare a lot the hype of DeFi and NFT to masternodes back in the day, back in 2017, 2018. And for example, when you bought a masternode and you started getting the rewards for the masternodes, most of them didn't have much liquidity, and it was hard to at least not move the whole market if you were to buy like 5,000 of X masternode. Nowadays, it's completely different. Like, you have a shit ton of liquidity on both ends, and that's the beauty of it. For example, you bought. I don't want to mention any coin in specific because I don't want to hurt any reputations. But for example, you bought this X coin at the beginning of their launch. So you take the equivalent of those coins. For example, you have $10,000 of X coin and you have $10,000 of Ethereum or USDT or USDC, and you pull that into Uniswap or PancakeSwap or one inch exchange, and you put up that in the pool and put your money to work, and that's the beauty of automatic market makers, that you can actually make money on those and provide liquidity on both ends.
So who are you providing liquidity to? Like, so you put up your whatever, your 3 or 5 ETH. You put up your 5 ETH. Like, what does someone else do with that ETH? Are they for exchange liquidity, or what are they doing with it?
It just provides depth to the pool, to the order book. In this case, the order book is automatized, so you don't see the actual order book.
Okay.
So it depends on the liquidity it's implemented in the automatic market maker. So if there's not much liquidity in it, you're probably gonna move the price a lot on both ways, either way.
So I saw you talking about like taxes in Panama, right? We had that Biden tax proposal, and I saw a tweet from you, and I was kind of interested to hear your thoughts on your trading. You're in Panama, like different tax laws, how that's worked out for you, and just your thoughts on that whole thing.
Well, 48% tax in the US sounds pretty bad, man. I think there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna move outside the US just to evade taxes, because I don't know, man. Like 48% of capital gain tax sounds pretty fucking bad. Fortunately for me, I'm in Panama. I'm Panamanian. and cryptocurrencies are not non-taxable in Panama. So I'm pretty set up. I have heard that Portugal is also pretty good, and some other places. But I recommend to my friends in CT that live in the US to drop their US citizenship and come to Panama, man. Like, it's worth it.
Is that an invitation? You've got room at the inn, so to speak?
Yeah, you can hang out with my cat here if you want. There's a shit ton of beaches on both sides, Caribbean, Pacific. If you like farming, you can go farming. If you want to go to the mountainside, there's a shit ton of things to do down here.
So are there other traders, kind of like you have friends in the area who trade too, or most of your trading community, are they in different parts of the world?
It's similar. The thing is, traders down here are not as active on Twitter.
Yeah.
Or they're more into the shadow that they do follow them, but they're not actively shit posting as I am. I guess I jumped too early into the rabbit hole of crypto Twitter, but it has its benefits because as I mentioned earlier, I jumped in crypto Twitter early in 2017, so I somewhat have the following ship to get into the pre-sales. So that's a plus for me. But yeah, the community is pretty active. They're trying to find a way to legitimize cryptocurrencies down here. But it's pretty slow. Adoption down here is pretty slow. If it's similar to the US back in 2018 when they closed your bank accounts just for trading cryptocurrencies or being an active trader and most of your things are in cryptocurrency. They say like, we don't sponsor any cryptocurrency usage of our services. So we have to close your account. And it's pretty bad at the moment.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully those things will be worked out as, in my opinion, crypto's more adopted and we get whatever KYC, whatever it takes to make it more sustainable. I think we'll see. We'll have to see how it plays out, my friend. We are getting towards the end of the hour. I'm gonna have to have you back. I love your feed. I love what you do. I'm just glad you could join us, man. Anything you want to say before we wrap up here?
Really sorry to be late, man. I thought it was at 7:15 ish my time. Really sorry to be late. What should I tell people?
Not your fault, man. I didn't specify, so it's cool.
We can do it another time for sure.
Yeah.
To my followers, you guys pretty early. You seen the news? Fucking banks are here. Big money is here. So you guys early. You might even get jobs on banks trading shit coins for them. So take that knowledge you've gained in these past years in the bear market and make it yours.
Words of wisdom. Thank you, my friend. This is Making Bread with Cheds. I am Big Cheds on Twitter. It's an honor to be doing this program and bringing on great guests like our guest today. I say stay safe out there, stay hungry, keep learning, keep trying, don't give up. It's those mistakes that make you better that you need to learn from. So keep your position small, keep grinding, smash that like button and Making Bread with Cheds. I think we'll wrap things up there. Thank you for watching, folks. Appreciate that. And I think we have an excellent program coming as well after this. So tell your friends about what Benzinga is doing, and we'll spread the word. Thanks again, but thank you very much.